Does thinking about things that you've done in the past make you cringe? And I'm not talking about the kind of cringe where you go, oh, that was kind of awkward. I mean, when you really feel in your chest and in your stomach that stabbing pain of, oh my God. Do you think constantly about past mistakes that you've made, or worry about what other people think, or just think, I shouldn't have done it like that and I should be better? These are expressions of a common feeling that we all feel, and that feeling is shame. Shame can be healthy and helpful. It can stop us from running around naked outside, but it can also be unhealthy or toxic, such as when it makes us feel guilty or bad or ashamed of who we are, or for things that aren't our fault. Carrying toxic shame negatively impacts our lives by preventing us from truly being who we are and taking actions that are authentic. In this video, I'll share with you a simple process to let go of toxic shame and replace it with a feeling of confidence and connection. Let's start by defining our terms a little bit more. Healthy shame is a feeling that keeps us safe by stopping us from taking potentially harmful or dangerous actions, or by acting in socially unacceptable ways. Toxic shame binds us in fear and says, I am a mistake, who I am is wrong, rather than just recognizing that potential actions we take could be wrong. Here's how toxic shame shows up in our mind, body, and actions. When it comes to our mind, toxic shame shows up in thoughts like, I'm a loser, I'm broken, I'm unworthy, I'm unfixable, I'm irredeemable, no one will like me just as I am or who as I am. And if I ever show that to the world, if I ever show who I am or express what I truly think or feel, I'm going to be rejected, hated, shamed, outcast. And it makes us think that nothing I ever do is good enough, and if I ever make a mistake, I'm going to be punished. And in our body, toxic shame shows up as that cringe feeling, but it's more than that. It shows up as a whole body experience, especially in your torso, of shutting down, feeling heavy, slow, wanting to isolate yourself and run away. It can look like slumped shoulders, poor posture, covering your face, or averting your gaze. And in terms of actions, toxic shame looks like people pleasing, trying to fit in, bending yourself over backwards to try and do whatever you think other people need you to do, which can result in self sabotage, poor boundaries, and isolation. Remember, these are all interconnected. Our body, feelings, mind, and actions are all one and all feed into each other. And so, when we're trying to overcome and heal from toxic shame, we need a solution that deals with all of these components together. And like with most healing work, the solution to toxic shame starts with noticing. So, here's the exercise. When you catch yourself in a negative thought spiral or slumped in a uncomfortable body position, notice that and go, look at this thought I've been thinking about for the past 5 minutes and beating myself up with. Look at my body. I'm shrinking away. I'm trying to hide and to cover myself. And then ask this vital question. Did I actually do anything wrong? Did I do anything wrong? And you'll normally know right away if you did actually do anything wrong. You'll feel it in your intuition. But the tricky part with toxic shame is that it will then come in, often with thoughts into your mind and go up, 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 and then it gets muddled up. Do you ever have that where you think of an idea and you go, oh, that's a brilliant idea. And then something else comes in and it sort of sabotages what you were doing. And you can't distinguish between what was your original great idea or feeling or thought and what you think you should do. That's how toxic shame works. It just comes in and sabotages what we actually think and feel. And when we get stuck in this situation, it can help to ask some logical questions to actually get to the bottom of it. Ask yourself again, did I actually do anything wrong? Did I take any wrong action? Was I trying to harm anybody? Did I lie? Or did I make an honest mistake? Was I just trying my best? Was I acting from a place of good intention, thinking I was doing the right thing, but it turned out that the information I had was incomplete and it ended up being the wrong thing? If you can logically reason, actually, I didn't do anything wrong, then you can stop feeling ashamed. And you can actually choose to stop doing this. There's a psychologist called Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor who discovered that feelings last about 90 seconds. So, to feel a full feeling from the initial chemical release to really feeling it all over your body to it flushing out of your system takes 90 seconds. And that means that, yeah, for 90 seconds, you're going to feel however you're going to feel. But anything after that is caused by you prolonging that feeling by constantly thinking about it. And the brilliant thing about that is that it gives you the choice. So you can just choose to stop. And you're entirely justified in doing that if you have genuinely done nothing wrong. And so you can say to yourself, stop, stop. Sometimes you need to really tell yourself to stop. And that's an important boundary that you can set for yourself. Tell your mind to shut up for just a moment. You don't need to feel this anymore. You've done nothing wrong. And then it's really useful to take some different action. So get up, put down your phone or the screen that you're looking at or whatever you were just staring at and go and do something, anything. Go and wash the dishes or make a cup of tea or craft something or go and do some life admin or schedule something. Go and do something because that way you've dealt with all of the toxic shame coming up on every single level. You've noticed the thought, you've felt the feeling, you've let the feeling come through, you've now stopped the thought, and now you need to take action. And it's in taking that action that you'll start freeing yourself. What if it's a yes? Yes, you have done something wrong. Well, then you have a different choice. And you can choose either to hide from it or to face it. And you're going to need some courage because this is a scary choice to make. All of us make mistakes in our lives. We are totally, perfectly imperfect. It's a phrase that I really like. But when we label ourselves as wrong or bad or defective or irredeemable, that's when toxic shame slips in. And toxic shame is a liar. It's not true. It distorts our healthy guilt and shame and makes us feel like we inherently, for who we are problems, rather than we took an action that it was wrong and can be corrected and is okay and doesn't have a total overwhelming bearing on who we are and our value as a human being. Toxic shame is this unnecessary layer of self blame, and we need to remove that in order to start healing from it. To do that, we have the choice: hide or face. Hiding looks like covering it up, trying to blame others, isolating because we don't want to deal with the consequences of our actions and are hoping it blames over. But also in our thoughts, we can hide from it. We can say, I'm so irredeemable anyway that it doesn't even matter, so I'm not going to bother. And hiding is comfortable. And notice it's actually doing something for you because it's more comfortable than facing the truth of what you did and owning up to it and then making amends. When you hide, you avoid doing the work, which again feels good in the short term. But in the long run, it's damaging because it feeds the shame. And it can feel like, actually, when you're hiding, that you are taking accountability. I feel bad for this. I'm going to isolate myself. I'm not worthy of this, so it doesn't matter anyway. But that's not entirely what's happening. Rather than taking accountability through action, you're hiding away. The key here is, does the feeling make you take action or not? And if it doesn't make you take reparative action or restorative action, then it's not actually facing it or taking accountability. It's just hiding away. And you're avoiding doing the vulnerable work here, which is where the solution comes in. Because facing it is tough. It's really difficult, especially when you might have lived your whole life for it to not be safe for you to be vulnerable and to share how you actually think and feel. Often, when we have toxic shame, we've been conditioned that pointing out the truth or sharing what we actually think is wrong, and we were punished for it. But we're adults now, and we can choose to be different, and we can choose to grow up and embody our strong adult selves and face the truth. One of my favorite sayings is that shame dies when stories are told in safe places. And that's really what you have to do. Because while taking honest accountability is hard, it is even harder to constantly live a life where you're running from the truth. Just let that really sink in. It is harder to live a life where you're constantly running from the truth. And if you look at your life and you know that you've dealt with toxic shame and you find it difficult to face the truth and own up and take accountability, notice the suffering that that's causing you. And in noticing that suffering, you may find the courage within to start making the choice to be accountable and to be honest. And that involves being with yourself and also with other people. And the way you do that begins with recognizing it and owning it. I made a mistake. You have to admit that to yourself, and then you can admit that to another person. And when you recognize that you made a mistake, you don't have to be harsh on yourself when you do that. You can empathize with yourself. I was doing my best, even if it was actually a pretty crappy thing to do. I, I couldn't have done better with the tools that I had in the time that I did. And if you often look at how you felt at the time when you did take that wrong action, you were sad, you were angry, you were guilty, you were hurting. And that's okay. You can have some compassion for yourself. And you can also imagine how it would have felt for the other person, too. It might have been scary or hurtful. You can empathize with both yourself and the other person who you might have hurt. And then the next step is to go and make that amends. If it's with yourself, then give this to yourself. If it's with another person, then take it to them. And you're doing this for you, not for them. But you can listen if they want to talk and empathize with what they're saying. And then you can make the amends. And making amends means choosing now to live, now and in the future, differently. It's okay, whatever you did. And you can sort of make up for it by choosing to be different right now. And if you've done something that needs to face punishment, then face that punishment, face the consequence, give back the thing that you stole, pay the debt that you owe, do what is needed to fill the cycle and make it complete. And then decide to learn from the experience, decide to be different in the future, and then actually act that out. And if you do this process for yourself, regardless of how the other person reacts, you will start to heal your shame. And you'll notice that when you do this, and if you think back to times in the past where you have had an honest conversation with someone, you'll feel that weight that was pushing into your chest and sinking into your stomach lighten. And you'll feel freer and more open and more connected to yourself and to others. And that's how you heal shame. It's through connection and honesty and authentic conversations, which can be the most difficult thing if you suffer with toxic shame. But remember that shame dies when stories are told in safe places, and that you cannot heal shame alone. You have to do it with other people. And it's in that healing connection with other people that the parts of yourself that you cut off and thought were bad and that make you say, "Oh, I'm not worthy," they get their love. They are seen and respected and honored for what they are. And when other people can see that, it can often help us see that within ourselves. So while it's scary to take that risk, to be honest, to take accountability, to make amends, when we take that risk, the rewards that we feel within ourselves are almost always worth it. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, then please hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Take care, and I will see you again soon.